Hey, how's it going, guys? So welcome back for another Star Wars video. If you're new channel, welcome. I'm gonna be checking out another video by Red5, and so shout out and credit goes to Red5 for the video. And this one I'm actually really looking forward to. It's called the 10 most terrifying Sith Lords in all of Star Wars. Now there are many Sith Lords that we've seen in like the prequels, the sequels, and everything like that. But in my opinion, the most terrifying ones are actually from the Old Republic, because the ones that were shown in the prequels and sequels, I mean, don't get me wrong, they're pretty terrifying and pretty good, but I mean, compared to the ones in the Old Republic, they're nothing. Like Darth Nihilus, Darth Traya, Darth Sion, Darth Malgus. I mean, those guys are really terrifying. So I'm really looking forward to like what kind of Sith Lords are going to be told by Red5. And this video is almost twice the length of his usual ones, because usually his other ones is like 10 to 12 minutes long, but this one is 20 minutes. So we'll see what kind of information he has. Maybe he has a lot to explain and a lot to tell. So without anything else, let's just jump into it.
The Sith Lords are some of the most feared beings in the Star Wars galaxy. Masters of the dark side of the Force, they wield unimaginable power, bending the galaxy to their will and leaving only terror in their wake. From shadowy sorcerers to brutal warriors, these are the 10 most terrifying Sith Lords in all of Star Wars. The embodiment of Sith terror, the name Darth Malgus became synonymous with destruction during the Great Galactic War. Towering,
Darth
brutal,
Malgus.
and unstoppable, Malgus was a
betrayer.
juggernaut on the battlefield, driven by an unrelenting commitment to the dark side and the Sith cause. He rose to infamy during the sacking of Coruscant, leading to the Sith Empire's devastating assault on the Republic's capital. Malgus personally stormed the Jedi Temple, cutting down Jedi Masters and Padawans alike. His image, standing amid the flames of Coruscant, became a symbol of the Sith's brutal victory. But Malgus was more than just a weapon. He was a visionary who believed in the Sith's evolution, seeking to break free.
Speaking of evolution, I'm sorry for pausing right there. Speaking of evolution, we literally saw this man in all 3 to 4 like Star Wars cinematics. We saw him right now as an apprentice, and then we saw him kill his master. Then we saw him in Alderaan in the Hope trailer, and then after that we saw him, and then finally we saw him like get like defeated and like pretty badly wounded up to the point that he needed a breathing mask like Darth Vader. And then notably we saw him at the Jedi Temple and bring it down. And then time went by, we saw him in Disorder. So that's why he's like, he really stands out and he's really notable.
From the infighting and stagnation of their traditions. His ambition and desire for change ultimately set him at odds with the Sith leadership, leading him to forge his own path, making him even more dangerous as a rogue Sith Lord, even after suffering horrific injuries that left him dependent on a respirator. Malgus's resilience never faltered. Encased in armor that sustained his ravaged body, he became an even more fearsome figure, his disfigurement and mechanical breathing a chilling reminder of his indomitable will. Essentially, Darth Malgus is what Darth Vader could have been, had Anakin Skywalker been raised as a Sith from birth. Like Anakin, Malgus even had a lover, a Twi'lek named Alina Daru.
Oh yeah,
but
I remember.
Unlike Vader, Malgus was able to willingly cast aside this attachment and stabbed Daru through her heart. She was a weakness that simply could not exist. A warrior unlike many Sith Lords before him, Darth Momin's terror came from his brilliance, his madness, and his...
Darth Momin, yeah. I know he... I remember he was in the Darth Vader comics when Darth Vader was trying to like build his castle on Mustafar, and oh, that was the fridge. I was like, what's that sound? Mustafar, and then after that, Darth Momin helmet like took control of someone, I forgot, and then what was it? And then basically Momin was trying to do his thing, and then that's what happened. But I'll let Red5 explain.
His mastery of dark side sorcery. A twisted artist and Sith alchemist, Momin mastered the ability of shaping the Force itself into horrific creations, turning his imagination
he was
into
more
a
of a builder and
reality.
architect rather than a
Momin's
warrior.
philosophy was centered on creation through destruction. he saw death and chaos not as ends but as tools to craft dark beauty. His most infamous act was the annihilation of an entire city, where he used the Force to create a weapon that froze the populace in eternal torment, preserving their agony as his masterpiece. Eventually, Darth Momin was defeated by the Jedi, at least his physical form was, but death couldn't silence Momin's evil. His essence was preserved within a dark side artifact, his own sinister mask, capable of possessing those who wore it. The mask became a conduit for Momin's will, enabling him to continue spreading fear and destruction long after his physical demise. Centuries
remember
later,
that in the
Darth
comics.
Vader was gifted the mask by his master and used it in his quest to construct a dark side Force nexus on Mustafar. Through the mask, Momin took possession of one of Vader's servants, physically manifesting once again. With Vader's reluctant permission, Momin designed and built Fortress Vader, the infamous castle engineered to open a door to the dark side itself. Yet, true to Sith nature, Momin betrayed Vader, attempting to seize control of the fortress for himself. However, this proved to be his undoing as Vader swiftly destroyed him. Have you ever wanted your very own high-quality lightsaber? But every online store...
I actually took a look into the lightsaber store that he advertised, and I am interested, but I don't want to like buy anything right now until I have my own permanent place. So I'm just gonna skip ahead a little bit. I saw Exar Kun,
a Sith Lord whose ambition and cruelty nearly destroyed the Jedi Order and plunged the galaxy into chaos. Exar Kun was once a promising...
Exar Kun's story is actually one of my favorites. I mentioned that so many times in like many other videos, but he is one of my favorites. How he went from like a Jedi promising, but he got ambitious and curious into like the dark side, and then traveled to Yavin 4 and basically took over the entire I forgot what they're called, that like species, and he gave into the dark side. He ran to another fallen Jedi and they built their own brotherhood. Amazing story.
Jedi Padawan. His fall to the dark side began with a curiosity about forbidden knowledge. Driven by arrogance and a thirst for power, Exar Kun delved deep into ancient Sith teachings, eventually uncovering the secrets of Naga Sadow on the Sith homeworld of Korriban.
He says Naga Sadow, but many other characters call him Naga Sadow. I don't know what's right, but...
Seduced by the dark side, Kun abandoned the Jedi and declared himself the Dark Lord of the Sith, determined to surpass all who came before him. Kun's rise to power was swift and merciless. He took another fallen Jedi as his apprentice, Ulic Qel-Droma, and launched a devastating war against the Republic. Under his command, Sith forces unleashed terror across the galaxy, targeting Jedi strongholds and Republic worlds. Exar Kun's power in the Force was unmatched. He mastered Sith alchemy and dark-side sorcery, wielding abilities that allowed him to dominate minds, summon dark spirits, and destroy the internal organs of his foes through a Force wound. That's not to mention Kun's mastery of lightsaber combat. His signature weapon, a double-bladed lightsaber, was one of the first of its kind, and made him a deadly force in combat, outmatching even the most skilled of Jedi Masters. Kun's reign of terror eventually ended during the Great Sith War, when the combined efforts of the Jedi and Republic forces drove him back to Yavin 4.
And also
refusing to accept
apprentice
defeat,
betrayed him.
Kun performed a dark ritual, sacrificing the lives of his followers to bind his spirit to the temples of Yavin. Though his physical body was destroyed, his malevolent presence lingered for a millennia. In fact, so long that he would later corrupt a student of Luke Skywalker's Jedi Academy on the planet, until Skywalker would vanquish his essence once and for all. Known as the Lord of Pain, Darth Sion's power was not born from strength or intellect, but from an unrelenting refusal to die. Once a Sith marauder who fought for Exar Kun, Sion was mortally wounded in battle, but discovered that by channeling his hatred and pain through the dark side, he could hold his broken body together. Every
That is
fractured
so.
bone and shredded muscle remained intact only through sheer willpower, fueled by his deep connection
That
to
is
the dark side.
crazy.
This ability made him functionally immortal, but at an unimaginable cost, an all-consuming constant agony. Sion's grotesque, decaying appearance was a reflection of the painful existence he endured. His body was riddled with scars, fractures, and unhealed wounds, each a testament to the torment that kept him alive. His very presence exuded terror, as his broken form and undead existence were unnatural even by Sith standards. A disciple of Darth Traya, Sion served as one of the 3 members of the Sith Triumvirate. He dedicated himself to the complete eradication of the Jedi Order, leading brutal purges that drove the Jedi to near extinction. Despite his terrifying immortality, Sion's existence was defined by pain and despair. It was the exiled Mitra Surik who ultimately broke his will, exposing the futility of his internal suffering and showing him the strength in letting go, convincing Sion to abandon his hatred and allow himself to finally die. Few beings in Star Wars history have embodied the torment of the dark side as fully as the Lord of Pain. Darth Krayt was a Sith Lord whose journey from Jedi to Dark Overlord is as tragic as it is terrifying. A former Jedi Master during the Clone Wars, Asherad Het survived the Jedi Purge and sought refuge among the Tusken Raiders.
I'm not very familiar with Darth
However,
Krayt.
his anger and disillusionment with the Jedi Order left him vulnerable to the dark side. After years of wandering, he was captured by the Yuuzhan Vong, who subjected him to horrific experiments that implanted his body with biotoxins, leaving him in constant agony. This torment pushed him fully into the dark side, transforming him into Darth Krayt. Krayt's power was as relentless as his ambition. He founded the One Sith, a new Sith order that rejected the infighting of traditional Sith teachings, instead demanding absolute unity under Darth Krayt.
Dude, look at his armor.
With Sith, Krayt re-established a Sith empire, placing himself as the galaxy's ultimate ruler. His mastery of the Force and combat skills were unparalleled. Despite his deteriorating body, Krayt's immense willpower and connection to the dark side allowed him to wield devastating abilities, from Force lightning to precognition. His imposing armor, made from the Yuuzhan Vong's living technology, further enhanced his fearsome presence and abilities. Krayt's most horrific trait was his obsession with immortality. He sought to escape the fate of his decaying body by bending the Force to his will, experimenting with Sith alchemy and dark rituals. His relentless pursuit of external life consumed countless lives, and his tyrannical rule left entire worlds in ruin. Even after his apparent death, Krayt defied fate, resurrecting himself through the dark side. His return only deepened his legend as an unstoppable force of fear and destruction. Clad in black armor and sustained by his mechanical suit, Darth Vader's presence alone was enough to crush the spirits of his enemies. His deep, mechanical breathing and cold, emotionless voice struck fear into both foes and allies alike. Vader's mastery of the Force and combat skills made him an unstoppable enforcer of the Emperor's will,
capable
he is
the
of
chosen
defeating
one.
Armies single-handedly. Vader's atrocities began with his betrayal of the Jedi Order during Order 66, leading the sacking of the Jedi Temple and later wiping out the Separatist leaders on Mustafar. His actions earned him the reputation of a ruthless butcher loyal only to his master. As the Emperor's enforcer, Vader hunted down the remaining Jedi, extinguishing hope across the galaxy. His duels with Jedi survivors were the stuff of nightmares, with his towering figure and relentless attacks overwhelming even the most skilled of opponents. Those who faced him rarely lived to tell the tale. But what made Vader truly terrifying was his internal struggle. Beneath the armor was a broken man consumed by anger, regret, and hatred. His pain fueled his power, making him a relentless force of destruction. For decades, Vader buried the remnants of Anakin Skywalker, becoming the embodiment of the dark side's power and the Emperor's will. The majority of the galaxy didn't even know the truth behind his identity, with many believing Vader to be a successor to General Grievous or an artificial monster created in a lab. Little did they know, the truth was far more horrifying.
Yeah.
Darth Traya's power didn't lie in brute strength or military conquest, but in her profound manipulation of the Force and the minds of those around her.
Yeah, so, I mean, Darth Vader was, very obvious. Most people know Darth Vader. I mean, I even dressed up as Darth Vader during Halloween when I was in, I think, like first or second grade. But Darth Traya. So, I didn't find out about Darth Traya until it was actually, there was a mobile game called Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, and I found out about her through that game. So I found out about her way before I even started getting to the Old Republic history videos. And what really stood out to me about her was the fact that instead of wielding one lightsaber, she was able to wield 3 lightsabers, like as you can see right there, but through the Force, not like in hand. And also, what stood out to me is her ability in cutting off someone's connection to the Force. I was like, that is devastating, because when we see like training videos in Star Wars or just like combat videos, Jedi and Sith, they both rely on the Force to like guide their actions and their movements and to able to predict what move is going to happen next and everything. But you take that away, that huge advantage, then they're pretty much death. I mean, that's pretty much it. Because the Force is what like makes a Jedi different and a Sith different from anyone just wielding a lightsaber or just shooting a blaster. So that's what I really like about Darth Traya, and also her philosophy, like her point of views, her explanation, just like how I saw and listened to that 2-hour-long video of philosophy of Kraya. But either way, she's very unique. And I'm willing to bet after her, it's going to be Darth Nihilus. Because, I mean, we already talked about Darth Sion, and now we're talking about her. We got to complete the Sith triumvirate.
A true master of deception and philosophy, Traya used her intelligence to shatter beliefs and reshape destinies. Once a Jedi Master named Kraya, she was exiled by the Jedi Order after her teachings led to the rise of Darth Revan and the Sith Empire. Embittered and seeking purpose, she turned to the dark side, embracing the Sith teachings. She became a member of the Sith Triumvirate alongside Darth Sion and Darth Nihilus, operating from the shadows to orchestrate the downfall of the Jedi and the Republic. What made Darth Traya uniquely terrifying was her disdain for both the Jedi and the Sith. She saw the Force itself as a manipulative, malevolent entity and sought to destroy it entirely. Her philosophy drove her to manipulate individuals and events across the galaxy, pulling the strings like a master puppeteer. Traya's most chilling act was her use of betrayal as a weapon. She betrayed the Jedi, the Sith, and even her own allies in her pursuit of her goals. Yet, her power extended beyond philosophy. Traya was a formidable wielder of the Force, capable of telekinetically controlling multiple lightsabers in battle. Her mastery of the Force allowed her to strip others of their connection to it.
There it is.
A punishment she inflicted on those she deemed most unworthy. Darth Sidious is the embodiment of a Sith's terrifying legacy. A master of manipulation, cunning, and raw dark-side power, Sidious orchestrated the fall of the Republic,
and the Clone Wars, everything,
Jedi Order, and the rise of the Galactic Empire, all while hiding in plain sight. What made Sidious so horrifying wasn't just his immense power, but his unmatched patience and intelligence. For decades, he played the role of a...
Yeah, I mean, think about it, because his master, Darth Plagueis, and, I mean, he killed Darth Plagueis in his sleep. But however, from episode 1 all the way to the end of episode 3, that was, let's see, he did not, that was 10 years, and that was 3 years. So that was almost like 13 years, give or take. 13 to 15 years long. So he was willing to wait that long. And on top of that, he was able to conceal the dark side from everyone around him. That was insane. So, I mean, props to him. And he definitely deserves a spot on this video.
A humble senator from Naboo, gradually rising through the political ranks while secretly operating as the Dark Lord of the Sith. His dual identity allowed him to corrupt the galaxy from within, setting the stage for the Clone Wars, the rise of Darth Vader, and his ultimate ascension to Emperor. Sidious's mastery of the Force was unparalleled. His ability to wield Force lightning could incinerate opponents
Everyone's powers
in seconds,
are
and his
unparalleled.
lightsaber skills rivaled even the greatest Jedi Masters. But his most terrifying weapon was his mind. Sidious could manipulate entire armies, governments, and even other Sith to serve his grand designs. He turned
Like Count
Anakin
Dooku
Skywalker,
and
the Jedi's prophesied
Skywalker, yeah.
chosen one, into his apprentice, Darth Vader, ensuring the galaxy's greatest hope became his most feared weapon. During his reign as Emperor, Sidious ruled through fear, oppression, and absolute control. He showed no mercy, wiping out entire planets to maintain his iron grip on the galaxy. Even death could not contain him. Sidious defined mortality by mastering Sith alchemy and cloning technology, allowing him to transfer his essence into new bodies. This unnatural immortality made him a living nightmare, returning to threaten the galaxy long after his apparent demise. Darth Vitiate, also known as Tenebrae,
Valkorion?
the Sith Emperor, or Valkorion, was one of the most horrifying beings in Star Wars history. His reign of terror spanned over 1,500 years.
I watched literally about 5 to 6 videos about this character, his lifespan, his immortality, understanding the character. Just great Old Republic videos. But yeah, the fact that he's like spanned his life for so long, not because he's able to, but because he has a great fear of death.
Making him not just a Sith Lord, but an immortal force of destruction who defied the very fabric of life and death. Tenebrae showed an unnatural connection to the dark side as a child. By the time he was 10, he had killed his father and enslaved his village, demonstrating a cold, calculating cruelty. His rise to power
And
was
trapped his father in a holocron.
eventually declaring himself emperor and enacting a plan that would secure his place as one of the galaxy's most terrifying Sith Lords. Vitiate's most infamous act was the Ritual of Nathema, in which he drained the life force of an entire planet. The ritual left Nathema a barren, lifeless void.
Kind of sounds like what Darth
Vitiate
Nihilus could do.
ascended to near godlike power, becoming immortal. As the Sith Emperor, Vitiate ruled with absolute authority, manipulating his empire from the shadows while plotting to destroy all life in the galaxy. His ultimate goal was to complete a galaxy-wide ritual that would make him omnipotent, leaving nothing but his will in existence. His manipulation extended even to his most loyal followers, whom he enslaved mentally and physically, reducing them to mere tools in his grand schemes. Even after his physical body was destroyed, Vitiate lived on by transferring his essence into new hosts, including his persona as Valkorion, the Eternal Emperor. The Lord of Hunger, Darth Nihilus was a being so consumed by the dark side that he transcended mortality, becoming a walking void in the Force. Once a human
Darth
Jedi, Nihilus was forever scarred by the cataclysmic events of the Mandalorian Wars, specifically the use of the mass shadow generator on Malachor 5.
2 things. 1, Malachor 5 is where Darth Traya's academy is located, for those of you guys who didn't know. And 2, one thing that always stayed in my mind was Darth Nihilus' ship. I forgot what it was called, but it was like literally the most terrifying ship in Star Wars. Because the fact that it does not run on like engine power or anything, it's literally pushed by Darth Nihilus like through the Force, and his crew are literally zombies. He's like keeping them awake and keeping them operated. So basically, the ship and the crew only operates because he's able to do that. So that's always something that stuck to me. I was like, wow, he's really that strong and powerful, and he's able to control that much. It's insane. And the fact that the man is called the Lord of Hunger, he can consume people, planets, it's insane as well. So that's why when it was mentioned about Valkorion doing the ritual that can like consume an entire planet, that's the first thing that came to mind, Darth Nihilus. I was like, yay, he could do that too.
The devastation created a wound in the Force, and Nihilus was consumed by an insatiable hunger for life itself. He became less a man and more a force of nature, an entity whose very existence drained the life force of those around him. Nihilus's hunger made him uniquely horrifying. He could devour entire planets, stripping them of all life and feeding on the energy of their inhabitants. This devastating ability wasn't just a weapon, it was a curse. The more he fed, the more his physical form deteriorated, until he became a shadow of a being bound to his Sith robes and mask. As one of the members of the Sith Triumvirate, alongside Darth Sion and Darth Traya, Nihilus waged a campaign of destruction against the galaxy, targeting Jedi and Republic strongholds alike. His flagship, the Ravager, was a ruined warship held together solely by his dark will, serving as a mobile platform for his life-draining attacks. Despite his immense power, Nihilus was ultimately undone by his own hunger. His reliance on the Force to sustain his existence left him vulnerable to its manipulation. Mitra Surik, the Jedi exile, defeated him by exploiting his dependency on the Force.
Man, she just took down the whole triumvirate pretty much.
And destroying him. Darth Nihilus remains one of the most terrifying Sith Lords, not because of his conquests or his combat prowess, but because of what he represents, the consuming, all-devouring nature of the dark side. His legend endures as a chilling reminder of the cost of unchecked power.
That's a pretty interesting way to end it. But either way, those were the top 10 terrifying Sith Lords. I know there's a lot more Sith Lords that should be on there. But however, you know, he only mentioned 10. So the ones I think should also be on there, but I'm really happy he put Exar Kun on there. Like I said, one of my favorite characters. Another one I think we should mention is like Darth Maul, because not only the fact that he survived and managed to survive for decades, but the fact that he created a criminal underworld and still managed to rule, and he's very intimidating. Another one I want to mention is Darth Revan. I mean, even though he's light side, but Darth Revan and Darth and Malik, because I mean those two are very terrifying, and they built their own Sith empire and was able to create a whole lot of destruction. And let's see who else. Nothing comes to. I have a feeling it's gonna come to mind after I turn off this video. But either way, there's so many. Or maybe Darth Bane, because Darth Bane created the rule of 2 and everything. But I mean, there's so many Sith Lords out there who are also terrifying in their own ways, and they deserve to be on this list. But the thing is, if Red 5 went through all of the Sith Lords, he's gonna need more than 20 minutes. But either way, this was a really great video, and I really enjoyed it. So that's all I got for today. So thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for watching. Hit that notification bell so you know when I drop another video. And also shout out to all my members, subscribers, viewers. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much for your support, guys. I really do appreciate it. So without anything else, I'll see you guys next time.